Morning, Guillaume. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is a bank holiday, but we've got so many that I just thought I would carry on doing our clubhouses. So if we've got kids running in, I know you've got a brand new baby. If I have kids running in, husband probably doing the loud things outside the door, we'll just keep working through it. But great to see so many people here joining us this morning. And as I say, I'm so thrilled to have Guillaume on here. He has completely revolutionized my life recently, and now I love deals anyway, but I'm absolutely enjoying, and I'm definitely moving forward with so many new deals. So Guillaume, if you just give us just a quick intro to who you are and what your company is, and then we'll start deep diving into sort of asking some really specific questions that I've got.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Emma. Good morning, everybody. So, yes, when we book these calls, we don't really realize that we book them on bank holidays, but here we go. It's all good, it's all fine. So, I'm Guillaume Black. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Property Filter. Basically, we help and empower property investors excel at finding deals. So, we've built a little platform initially for ourselves and then making it available to people. It's all about finding deals, so all about finding motivated sellers, all about filtering out the noise, focusing your time, resources into having only discussions with motivated sellers, and people love us because it's where they get results, basically. So it's all about finding deals through identifying motivated sellers, finding all the low-hanging fruits, filtering out the noise, and yeah, people just come to get shit done, basically, get deals moving. And it's been very empowering to see the results and the successes our members have had. So just getting started since we did a soft launch last year, but we started to push it a little bit more this year. And just a place where people come and get results and get deals. So as you said, it's revolutionizing a bit the way people do things and accelerating people's success in property, because the first port of call with property is to start by excelling at finding deals. If you can't find deals, it's quite frankly a non-starter. So we tick this first box and get people traction in property, basically.
Amazing. Okay, so one of the things that's been really key with me, and I do a lot of mindset stuff, and in fact, you were just talking about how the mindset that you've gained in property has gone into your personal life as well, and I think that is incredibly key and important. But one of the things, and I'm sure it's Napoleon Hill, but it could be somewhere else, so I apologize if I've got it wrong, but they talk about doing certain, to be successful, it's not about doing certain things, it's about doing things in a certain way. And this, for me, Property Filter has been this total flipping on the head of, we all look on Rightmove, we all look at those things, and I always talk about, and to me, it's about, with Property Filter, you're doing things in a certain way. And that's where, by having that twist, doing things slightly differently, is where you can really see these phenomenal successes coming from it. So I really like that. And I also talk a lot about fishing in a pond where no one else is fishing. And that's a huge love of mine. I'm really passionate about it, because inherently, don't we all, most people, even just general lay people, everyone loves to look on Rightmove, but everyone goes there, and it's we can spend so many hours on it. It's trying to make those really efficient. So how did this kind of whole Property Filter sort of come up into your head? Do you naturally come from that arena, that kind of technology space? How did it sort of all come together?
Yeah, so we built this for ourselves, actually. So my background is in engineering. I used to build bridges, so not really a tech entrepreneur. So all of this happened a bit by accident. But basically, where we were at, and it's really been solving our own problem from the beginning. So I was working full time for a contractor, building and repairing bridges, and I wanted to get, I wanted more for my life. I wanted to get into property. So you do the right things, you surround yourself with the right people, you engineer your environment for growth, and so that you've got, positivity around you, you've got people doing the things you want to do. You go on the courses and the seminar, you do all these good things, and then you move into execution where you are trying to fit property around your day job. So what you do is you fit it where you can. So you wake up really early, you scroll through the portals, and during the lunch break or any break, indeed, you go around and book the viewings you can. You stack them on the weekends. And I spent the 18 first months really figuring out, like strategies and what I wanted, but really going at it really aggressively with no tools, So I would spend a good 20 hours outside of my 60-hour work week on property every week. And that's mornings, lunch, evenings, weekends. And for 18 months, having very little results, because I was doing all the good things, really grinding and doing all this, booking the viewings and so on. What I was actually doing is randomly booking viewings based on the pictures, the layout. And because I could only view 4 or 5 properties a week, this is as far as I could get myself lucky, I could only view, 15, 20 properties a month. And then among these, I had to be lucky. But because you randomly book viewings based on the pictures and the layout, and what happens is that you turn up at viewings where the vendors are not motivated. You turn up at viewings where people are queuing, and there's never going to be a deal there. So week after week for 18 months, I just wasted my time. Week after week, I was delaying my property goals, progress, traction by another week. To a point where, you have families, when you start out, you go into those seminars and stuff, people think you join a cult. And
is it not a cult?
And it's really hard because the environment you come from is your family, the limiting beliefs of your education, your family, your environment, your work. I would go to work every Monday and people making fun of me. So are you a millionaire yet? And ultimately you are one. But it doesn't happen. So it's really hard. And especially with family, with like Mrs. Black was saying, "Oh, we don't do anything anymore. It's your property thing." And it's really hard when you start. So I asked, I was together with my best friend. We were doing property stuff together and wasting our time together for 18 months. And then we asked his brother, which is a lot more tech savvy, to do a bit of a software for us, just a small thing to qualify viewings. So it was all about, okay, we will only go and see, properties if there are signs of motivation. So that's what we built for ourselves. And then fast forward 18 months after that, I was full-time, I left my job full-time in property, massive traction, awards, all the things, the banners, all the stuff you've got on banners of gurus, you have achieved. And there was a real before and after when we created this tool for us. And at the time, it was our little secret. It didn't have a name. We were calling, it was called Le Software. So if you haven't figured out, I'm not quite from here, but so originally from France. And so we, together with Le Software, full-time in property. And obviously, because I was in property circles, you've got friends asking about this, property friends, friends of friends. And then a bit by accident, it grew organically. People wanted access to it. And initially we had, you talk about mindset, and we had this very limited, sort of, what's the opposite of growth mindset? Is what's the
limited mindset, I suppose. Closed-minded, maybe.
Yeah, like, oh, this is our secret, and then there's more deals. There are thousands of deals on the platform, like more than I can dream of buying, So then we started to share it with people. We got some feedback, and it evolved, massively into it now does 20 times more things than it did when I got out of my job, So it's a lot better than it was for me, actually, and it's why it just accelerates success of other people. So it happened a bit by accident like this, where despite me being this French guy from socialist states, upbringing, nobody, we don't realize in the UK, but everybody's a bit entrepreneurial. There's lots of people with their parents have got corner shops, or everybody's self-employed doing something. In France, everybody's in a job, So I had to unlearn quite a lot to become this accidental, property then startup entrepreneur, and I had to work quite a bit on myself over the years, but it all happened, organically like that. And because I was, it's myself and we are 2 other founders. So I think for why this works so well is that whilst I'm having a baby, I've got 2 other guys, working really hard on it, so it never stops. So
Amazing,
Works really
amazing. Well. Okay, so incredible journey, and I'm sure guys do please pop you know, a note in the comment. I'm not seeing anyone, just making sure you can all see it there. But yeah, I'm sure everyone has got the same situation, other than I can see Paul in the is he still there? Paul Merrick was in the audience. He wouldn't have this, because I know Paul is very good at always having the end in mind. But a lot of us who are starting out, you know, you're on Rightmove, you're looking there, and you know, especially, you know, at the end of last year, I mean, it was just crazy, wasn't it? That, or you know, the middle of last year, it was absolutely crazy. People bidding far higher than properties were worth, and it was just very difficult. So this whole thing of turning it around and only finding the motivated sellers is just so powerful. And guys, if anyone is kind of, you know, really interested in this, and you think you know anyone else who might be interested in this, please do send out a few invites to get some more people in the room, so we can really spread the word on this, because exactly as Guillaume has said, there are so many deals out there. And that's exactly something I was talking yesterday to somebody and saying how wonderful the property market is, because even if you're doing HMOs in the same area, you might be going for bigger HMOs, they might be going for smaller HMOs, they might be looking for properties that are doer-uppers, you might be looking for rent to rents. You know, it's such a collaborative market, isn't it? So it's exactly like you've created this and then chosen to share it. I absolutely love that. Mm-hmm. So I really wanted to just sort of touch on, especially I know we get some newbies on here, when it comes down to the motivated seller. So Almas, there's actually a link if you look at the top. We're going to go into a bit more how it works in a second, but it's called Property Filter. So there's a link at the top. But when it comes down to sort of motivated sellers, what does a motivated seller look like to you, Guillaume? What are the benefits of them?
Yeah, so basically, going back to my own story again, motivated seller is someone where they've got a log jam in their life caused by their property problem, and selling their property will solve their problem, or somebody dealing with the property will just remove this big thorn they have. And the truth is 90% of properties on the market, you know, they are a waste of time, because you know, people want to achieve the best price and they want, you know, they have time to sit on it. But it's not really, you know, you can buy one or two properties and then you run out of money. So the way we've studied success, you know, I've had interviews and discussions, coffees, and whatnot with 400 plus of the most successful people in the country, and then really boil down what works and how can you do this again and again, you know, in the long term. And you have to buy from people that need to sell, you know, or for who the price is not the most important, but maybe the speed and the certainty is more important, and sometimes just the certainty, you know, or sometimes where because they've got a property problem. So the bigger the problem you solve, the bigger, you know, the less the competition, the bigger the margin. So really the quality of the deals you will find is directly linked to how big the problem is for the vendor, or how motivated they are to sell. And it could be they are motivated because of their circumstance, because they are moving countries, or they have to pack their stuff and go really quick, or Mrs. Smith wants to screw Mr. Smith because they are getting a divorce, and she just wants to cash in on the house as soon as possible. You know, there's all sorts of stories, and you know, property is a people business, and you want to approach these things with a lot of empathy and make it a win for them, making a win for you, and therefore it's going to be a win for the universe. But you know, it's not a Shark Tank where who are you going to screw today? You know, it's not at all how it's going to work. I really believe in, you know, like karma credits, and the thing you put out there, you know, what goes around, you know, comes around. So it's really, you will find people that you can genuinely help by giving them speed or certainty or a creative strategy that the mass market can't help with. And so how do we find these? It's a lot of indicators in the data, basically. And the way Property Filter works is we agglomerate hundreds of different data points across everything you can think of property related. So it's the equivalent of having a Rightmove, Zoopla on the market. We cross-check this, you know, like prime location, anything you can think of, it's all in one place. And then we cross-check this with lots of other databases. And some databases are also proprietary. We've made an agglomerate across different things. So You'll know things like negative equity, if the property is for sale as well as to rent, if it's for sale with multiple agents, if it was listed with one agent and the agent failed to sell it and a new agent has been instructed. And, I've got tons and tons of indicators like this when the property fell through, came back on the market and was reduced and was, with multiple agents and all these things, and the idea is that amongst 100 property, amongst 1,000 property, there's going to be 10, 20 that are going to be your first port of call to go and have a discussion with. And it's what I said at the beginning, where by viewing 15, 20 properties a month, I couldn't be lucky enough, but by randomly booking viewings, on these. But the truth is, most of us have got time to do 15, 20 viewings a month, like 3 to 5 or 10 viewings a week. And then rather than leaving it to chance, you can go straight to those people where the discussion is going to be a lot more interesting, and they're going to have problems, and you're going to be the professional who solves that problem. And then every viewing you do, there's a story for you to figure out, and then there's a problem for you to solve. And then the bigger the problem, the bigger the margins for you. So the first deal we bought with Property Filter, for example, was listed at 250. There was a history of 3 different agents involved. I think they dropped the price twice to 225. We ended up buying it at 173. We spent a bit of money to make it a 6-bed HMOs, and it was revalued at 450. So that's the kind of deals you find, and that's not me, doing 200 viewings to find this needle in the haystack. Is having the Property Filter magnet to pull out all the needles of the haystack and just looking at them.
Amazing. And for me with the whole sort of this whole motivated seller thing it's just a complete flip. So inherently what we normally do, and the way I sort of visualize it myself, is we sit down and generally I go straight into Rightmove, although I do a lot of other stuff as well. But if you're looking at Rightmove, you go in and there's a lot of memory, isn't there? And I'm not great with that. And then you have like some spreadsheets, and then you might have maybe a Trello or an Asana board, and you have this, that, and the other. But inherently, there's a lot of difficulty, and certainly for me and the way my brain worked, it would be quite a painful process, because you'd realize that you were spending a lot of time re-looking at things. And even with sort of Rightmove, and especially now, you can actually put notes, can't you, at last? I mean, why they haven't put that in years ago, but you can put notes in and things like that. But even with that, there's this huge amount of memory. And I know you spoke before about having virtual assistants, so you can send your virtual assistants out and they can sort of spend hours looking things up. But when you open up, the Property Filter, and you've set it all up, and you're looking at, for instance, all the deals, you literally can see, okay, there are, and it's really interesting because I do, coaching as well. And I'll use, this and go in and show the guys, look, in your area, had you thought of looking at this? And you can look it up, and actually there aren't as many of that particular type of deal coming up. So then we'll go and look at another particular type of deal where there are motivated sellers, and see how many motivated sellers are in sort of different sectors. And that's just been incredibly powerful. And some of those, I know it's loads, but I was just going to mention a few of those. But you've got, basics of like something that would work as a buy, refurbish, refinance. If the property has short leases, so really the detail is so extensive. And at the moment, I'm literally hoping in the next week or so to make an offer on a couple of short lease properties through this system, and I'm able to see who are the ones that have come back on, fallen off, massively reduced their prices for whatever. You've even got in there rent to rent. You've got 1 to 2 bed conversions. You've got HMOs that are not potential HMOs, not in Article 4 areas. So you've just got this massive list of sort of things coming down. But for me, it's where it really, all of those things are just incredible. But for me, what is the biggest difference and the biggest sort of doing things, as we say, in a certain way, is it's basically a total live CRM system, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So as you kind of go in, say for instance, I was popping through, I think it was yesterday or the day before, as you do, I was having a quick look when I have a spare kind of 20 minutes. I'm like, I'll pop back in, see anything that's cropped up. And then I'll be like, okay, so I'm going to, so in fact, it must have been Saturday because I put in remind me in 3 days. So I know as of tomorrow morning, I'm going to open it up. And there was a number of, leads, so to speak, that are going to be in my funnel. So rather than looking at all those different places, it's literally going to say to me tomorrow, I know there was about 5 potential lease options where I want to be sending out letters. There was a couple of new other things where I needed to call some agents. So there was sort of varying things where it's so specific, exactly as you said, rather than spending that time looking at each property and go, now, did I look at that? Was it up for rent? Was it up for sale? And then even with up for rent and up for sale, I mean, that's just the most infuriating thing, isn't it? Because it's like, now, was it that property? Was it not? Was it that, it's just so crazy, especially if you've got a lot for sale in your particular area. So for me, why did you sort of choose not to go down like the VA route, but you've actually created this kind of and I'm just going to answer some questions, sorry. Tab, yes, absolutely. This is being recorded. Anthony says, oh, thanks, Anthony, great interview. How do you differentiate yourself and give the vendor certainty that you'll complete on the deal? Can we come back to that in a second, Anthony? That's a great one as well. But yeah, why did you, Guillaume, sort of choose to go down this route of this platform rather than perhaps 50 VAs or something?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's we are engineers, like my background is engineering, and more engineers than managers, let's say. So it's like business has systems and people, and it's how much, where's the dial? You need systems and people to run the system. And then a lot of the property investors, they'll have zero system and they throw people at problem. And it's inefficient, it's management by abdication. And, it just, it's like, fill the spreadsheet, and then it's always out of date, you talked about this, the follow-up and all the CRM for deals, etc. The truth is most people going for it in this game, they'll have some sort of a follow-up system. And this would be like a spreadsheet, a Trello board, as you say, or sometimes they even pay a CRM system. But if I was there, in the first 18 months, I would copy paste Rightmove links in my spreadsheet and then open the spreadsheet once a week, then twice a week, open every Rightmove links, and then all this property is gone, and then I would spend 1 then 2 sittings a week updating the spreadsheets. So by the time it's done, it's already out of date, and then I was confusing activity and progress. So I was busy being busy. I would tap myself in the back. Okay, good progress in my property business today. I updated the spreadsheet, which has zero value, like doesn't generate any income for me, like doesn't make me closer to a deal. It's just the admin, like running into the admin. If you ever find yourself copy pasting Rightmove links in any way, any system, anything, you're just creating yourself a pile of admin, forever, and more of it all the time. Then you start to say, okay, how am I going to solve this system? So, well, let's throw some people at this, So instead of me doing this, I'll pay a VA £200 a month, £300 a month, just to update the spreadsheet. And you've still got the same problems, by the time it's done, it's already out of date. There's always cracks into the system, and then you try to manage people, say, oh, you missed this, and it just never works, it's not satisfying to me. And then all of this could be automated, I knew that all of this could be automated. I looked around, of nothing like that exists, and to this day doesn't exist outside of Property Filter. And it's what you said at the right beginning about the way and the reason this works is because it's a blueprint, it's a methodology, and it's not just throwing data at people and then here's a list. It's moving away from the overwhelm of like the feed, the Rightmove feed. So if we take a bit of a step back on how Rightmove work, and they're all the same, how the portal works, the portals work, and who are they working for? So the subscriber of Rightmoves, how they make their money, are the agents. They pay £2,500 a month, to list properties on Rightmove, if they do sales and lettings. And 3-4 days before they are billed the $2,500, they get a reminder from Rightmove, hey, congratulations, in the last 28 days, did you know that you had, 12,260, unique visitors, and they spend an average of 26 minutes, on your properties. So we are the commodity, Rightmove is built so that we are ineffectively scrolling on it all the time, building up the data, building up the stats, so that Rightmove can justify their fees to the agent. Basically, look how much time people are spending on the platform looking at your properties. But what they should say is look at how much time people are wasting scrolling around the platform. And if you ever look at Rightmove on your phone, like this is a disease, it's like seriously, observe yourself when you're on TikTok, observe yourself when you're on Instagram, and observe yourself when you are on Rightmove on your phone, because the list is endless. And if you extend your phone feed to, it's endless. Like there are 3,000 properties on the back of it, so it goes, it's a mile long, and you're going to scroll through all of these, and because there's no strong enough filter for these, you always stay at the surface of things, on your phone especially. You look at it and say, oh well, that sounds good, but what else could there be, and you just end up spending a lot of time, and it's almost like an addiction, you look without looking, and you spend a lot of time doing these things. So it works well for Rightmove because it builds up their data, but you're just going around circle achieving nothing. So we moved away from this, and the first aspects in property filter is, okay, let's make a list of, a finite list of very hot qualified leads, basically. So it's not 1,000 properties in our area. It's the top 5, we want to go and speak to now. And because we remove like this whole idea of overwhelm. It's okay, if I only do one thing this week, I go and speak with these 5 motivated sellers. And then, so that's on the leads generation part, basically you have a leads inbox system, you set and forget your criteria, the leads are delivered to you every day, it works for you while you sleep. So it's like having 20 VAs full-time, basically scrolling through all the databases of anything property related, merging them together and delivering it to you while you sleep. So even you'll probably need 20, 40 VAs, if you want to do that, and you won't be as good as when it's automated by a machine. And then the next step is the pipeline, where you convert all these good leads into great deals. So it's all about progression, pushing it to the next stage and the next stage and the follow-up. And it's where all the leads and deals you've got in there, they are live with the market. So you don't have to update the spreadsheets. It's all live with the market. The price is the price. The asking price is the price. The status, has it fallen through and came back on the market 3 days ago, today, 12 days ago? Has it been reduced by 12%, by 15%, or whatever it is? It's all live with the market. And then all the other things you talked about, where I'm an engineer. I never, I always undersell this, but yeah, we've digitalized all the article for areas. So, if you're in or out of an article for areas, if you're into your HMOs, the last deal not the last, but one deal I bought, the garden is actually touching an article for area. And I've got myself, an HMO valued at 600,000, because it's just right outside the article for area. So you play with these things. It's really valuable. So and then again, it's the only live CRM, for deals. It's the only place where the deals are live, and you are not enslaving yourself with the admin of copy pasting Rightmove links in a spreadsheet or in a Trello board, or never mind. Sometimes people are paying for CRMs even, but they always have to have someone to open the Rightmove link and get rid of it. And you said something about fishing in a pond where nobody else fishes, or observing the masses and doing the opposite. And when your competition is clicking on the Rightmove link and it's dead, right now your competition has got a Trello board or a spreadsheet with lots of Rightmove links, and they will click on one link and then the property is gone. And sometimes the property is gone because it's sold, and sometimes it's just withdrawn. So in either case, you will see it on Property Filter, and then it's no longer on Rightmove, it's gone, but you will still see it on Property Filter, and it will show you that it's been withdrawn. It moved from being available to being withdrawn. You speak with the agent, and they'll tell you, oh yeah, well, they don't want to sell anymore. Okay, that's interesting. They don't want to sell anymore with you because you and the mass market couldn't solve this person's problem. And I can see that, you are the third agent involved with this particular property. They reduced the price 3 times, and they've really been struggling. They had to sell fall through, etc. So I can see why they are fed up. But again, because we didn't talk about this, but you get the full address of most properties on Property Filter. You can go and knock on the door, you can send them letters, and this is where you get a real, direct to vendor stuff as well.
Amazing. And another thing, so we talked about there, things that, maybe in our links, in our Trello board or whatever, they're suddenly not showing. I really like that. But also what I really like is the wasted time of re-looking at the same old deals that are sat there, and you have to scroll and scroll and scroll through Rightmove. And so one of the things I absolutely love, so there's this nightmare of a block of flats, massive block of flats near me. And anyway, it has got the highest, I mean, basically you have to pay the tenants to be there. It's got the highest service charge. It's basically one of those real shockers. And, you know, people are selling these properties, you know, for pittance, clearly, because you have to pay your tenant to be in there because of this incredibly high service charge. So rather than each time me having to keep seeing and scrolling past these, you know, it's a huge block as well. What I love as well is the ones that every time, you know, because obviously it crops up that this is, you know, this is a motivated seller. They've reduced their price massively over the last year. But I can now put never show me this again in Rightmove, in Property Filter. And that has been an absolute kind of deal changer for me. It's like, wow, I can just remove that off there. I don't have to keep constantly looking at it, because you do, don't you? Even when it comes back up, you're like, oh, I'll have just a quick look in. Like you said, it's kind of like this addiction, isn't it?
Just in
you naturally, noise, you naturally want to do it. So I love that. And then another one where, you know, it may, you know, there may be some form of motivation there, but it's not quite enough for you at the moment. It might not be top of your list. There are other deals that are far more motivated that you want to spend time on, but you know, again, you want to keep it in the background but not necessarily do anything at the moment, and the deal's not as strong as you want. So I love another benefit that you've got is you can say be told when there's a change. So i.e. if they put it down, or if anything changes, then you're highlighted again, so you don't miss out. You don't have to wait for the next time that you come back to it, which I think it is incredibly valuable. So
but here's the thing, you know, Emma, so if you look out there, you know, like the status quo on our competition right now, they've got a property investor diploma because they spend, you know, most of their time scrolling through the portals. They spend 70% of the time on Rightmove, and they think that qualifies them as being a property investor. And then they spend 20% of their time, you know, like maybe on viewings and things like that, and then 10% on actually, you know, trying to do deals, you know, building rapport, the offers, and the follow-up. And you want to flip this on its head, you know, like the 70% they spend on Rightmove is a waste of their time, you know. It's good for their ego because they feel like they are doing something, but they are easy fools, you know. And you flip this on its head with Property Filter, where you spend 10% of your time generating leads, because the system does it for you. It will bring leads in your inbox, as you said. And then so there's so many layers on how you save time, because you set and forget your criteria, the leads come to you. But then it's exactly as you said, then when you see a property, it's either one or two things, you know, it's either you like it or you don't. So in your leads inbox in Property Filter, you have the opportunity to take a decision. So hell yes, I want to work on this. I will save it to my pipeline, and the pipeline is where I'm going to work. So if you think of your leads inbox like an email inbox, so you'll have the things you want to work on, you will convert into a task. So you will leave your inbox and create a task in a workflow somewhere. And the things that is junk, you know, you just archive it. So that's what you described just now. So you move to a point where you've got a very tidy inbox where you've taken a decision on every lead, and then the system will remember what you've saved, what you've disregarded, so that tomorrow, when new property becomes available, so when new property comes to the market, or new property falls through, come back on the market, or the stuff you said wait until next change actually has got some movement going on because they've reduced the price again. Now it comes back under your radar. You only see the new stuff, you know. So this is how you really buy back your time. You really get on top of your area, so you know everything that ever was for sale in your area, you know, with a few minutes of your time today and every day. And people don't really understand the benefit until they live this, because this is where the 70% turns into a 10%, and they still spend 20% of their time on the viewings and stuff like that, but they only do the right viewings, the viewings where there's going to be a deal, and then they spend 70% of their time now like making deals, you know, doing the stuff that make money in property, building rapport, negotiating, putting the offers through, following up, and it's just giving people back the opportunity to do the things they are good at, which is actually making deals. We take care of all the admin; it's all automated for you, and then you can just do deals, you know, one after the other. That's how it works. And if you think of the status quo again right now, because most people randomly book viewings, they don't put offers in, so they waste their time. You know, like people don't really realize the cost of them doing viewings, of doing the wrong viewings, because whilst they do a viewing with a vendor that is not motivated, there's a motivated sellers that is being offered on, you know, down the road, you know, that they are not looking at. So they are missing out on deals all the time. So your competition right now is randomly booking viewings, therefore wasting their time, therefore not really putting offers in, and then nobody follows up. That's what you're up against. And if you want to join the 1%, this is where we've built this as a methodology. So you focus on the motivated sellers, you go straight to those properties where there are going to be deals, and then we encourage you, so, okay, value your time, one viewing equals one offer. Everything you see you should offer on, and then you never miss follow-up. And then the follow-up system is built in, so you talk about this remind me in 3 days kind of feature. There are these things to keep it simple, and what we've done here. So then you've got the follow-up here. So this all kind of end-to-end methodology, all about finding deals, and it's why it works so well. So people might say, oh, how does it compare with this and that? I've heard about some stuff that does property and put property and data together on it. So yeah, having the data is all right. You know, you can have a list of data in property. So not only do we have, I believe, a superior data set, and I get this from the devil's mouth, because we've got staff now that used to work for the big portals that work for us now, and they are impressed with what we've done. But also it's all organized in a framework where step-by-step blueprint, you know, it's about what steps do I take today to progress, convert this lead into a deal. And that's really what's unique, and why so many people get so much predictable results in finding deals with Property Filter.
Amazing. And Jonathan, thank you. You've asked the question in what the direction that I was heading at. So yeah, Jonathan has said, are Property Filter and Ultimate Property Dashboard duplicating functionality out there, or are they complementary to each other? Should I be looking at either or both? So yeah, just to widen that a bit, there are obviously lots of other you know, platforms on the market. Yeah, can you sort of give us a bit of feedback about why you're different, or anything like that?
I really enjoy the competition in this particular niche we are in, on like software for property investors, because the biggest challenge I have is I have to teach people that they need to subscribe to a software, you know, to accelerate what they are doing. And what I love about the competition is that they do this work of teaching people that they need, you know, they need something basically to help them. And once someone understands and they're happy to move into this world of, you know, software as a service, you know, like, which is quite common in other industry, like you'll subscribe to Xero. You wouldn't do your account without Xero. You wouldn't do your property management without, you know, like Arthur or Coho or GoTenant or something to manage your tenancies. And in the same way, you shouldn't be looking for motivated sellers, you know, on Rightmove. You probably want a tool that helps you do that. And so I really like this kind of soft competitiveness we have in this landscape, because people then understand that they need something to help them find deals. And then when they are at that stage, they shop around. And when they shop around, they all end up with us, because it's where they get results. So quite simply, there are a lot of tools out there that will give you data, information, and they will sell you the crystal ball and things like that. But ultimately, the proof is in the pudding, and the results are in the deals. You know, there's no other softwares out there have got more case studies of success that we do, and it's just been, we've not really advertised it. You know, like we're just starting to speak about it since 2 months. It was our secret before, just friends of friends, people in my network, and you know, just people get deals, people get results. You know, so because the product is there, because the methodology is there, because the quality of the data is there, it's all built around this the excellence of the data sets. But we don't just give the data and you know off you go. You know, you don't need to be a data scientist to enjoy the results of Property Filter. You know, it's quite simple. It's built as a platform everybody can use, and then it's all about the results. So we invest massively into helping you get on board with things and making sure you get to your deal. So your next deal and the next deal and the next deal again.
Amazing. And yeah, and I just wanted to sort of add another thing. So yeah, so Shania said she loves Property Filter and she's found deals using this software. And I can absolutely agree in the fact that Guillaume is super helpful and your whole team is incredibly helpful. So just thinking about sort of taking it forward, but I wanted to touch on something that I'm not sure we've mentioned, is that you also have incredible comparables on there. So obviously you can, you know, do our own comparables for your property and for your deal, but you already have some really great comparables within your system. And I know you and I have chatted about different ways to keep improving. And this is what I found really interesting with you, the property filter, the model, is that, you know, you're always looking to constantly strive to make it better, to do things. So yeah, where are you sort of planning on taking it and moving forward with that?
Yeah, so I think, again, with this educating people about this software as a service kind of model, you know, there's an assumption that I subscribe to a service, you know, and I think it's because other people in this game are quite static. People are used to, okay, what does it do? And then this is all it's going to do. So when you get on Property Filter, it's not like getting onto some of the other computation, including some mentioned earlier, where it's quite static. You get a CD and that's it. Basically, we are making updates and improving on it all the time. So every penny we make, we just put back into it, and we are just adding features, improving, tweaking things all the time. And I think it's because we've been very, you know, humble from the beginning, be very customer centric, if you like, where we can have good assumptions and tell you, okay, this is how we're going to build it. This is how we're going to do. But at the end of the day, you know, it's very easy to build something nobody wants. So it's been very community-led, community-centric, and, you know, based on our members' feedback. So it's why I speak to our members every week. It's why we now set up a Facebook group just last week, just to increase the engagement we have with our community. There's well over 700 people on the platform now. We're going to be 1,000 in June. We're going to be 3,000 by the end of the year, because of the people referring to each other, because of the results they get. And now we just need to scale how can we have more hears out, you know, because it was easy when it was a few hundreds, but now we need to collect more of this feedback. And everything we've built, okay, it started with good assumptions based on solving our own problems, but I take no credit for the quality of the product right now, because it's all been, you know, based on our members' feedback. And we have a very close loop. We've got our dev team in the UK and France, and they work every day basically to add to the product, add to things all the time. So yeah, every penny we make, we reinvest basically in it, and we've got some big guns of developers we've hired to make this a lot faster and a lot just a high quality, very scalable kind of solution. So it's quite exciting. It's really, really exciting, because the property filter, you know, now will be different to the one, you know, in next week, in 1 month, and we're just adding to it all the time.
Amazing, amazing. And then I'm going to come back to Anthony. Anthony, I don't know if you wanted to come up and where are you? And join us about your question. So Anthony said, how do you differentiate yourself and give the vendor certainty that you will complete on the deal? I'm not sure that this is a property filter question, but one thing that I've really found when I'm talking to agents as well is they really have been, I mean, some of them are a bit overwhelmed, in fairness, and have been a bit like not really liking the fact that I have so much information and I'm so knowledgeable, but others, and generally, as always, it's the kind of the more progressive ones, have been kind of really like, the other day I said, you know, I really am interested in this deal, and he said, no, I can really tell, because I felt much more professional. I've been asking, you know, really sort of pertinent questions that were very relatable. But Anthony, yeah, have you got any feedback to us how we can, you know, make ourselves you know, look better on these deals?
Hi, Emma, and hi, Guillaume.
And do introduce yourself. Sorry, Anthony, do introduce yourself.
Okay, so I'm Anthony Davis. I'm a full-time property investor for the last 20 odd years. Do most things in property, commercial, residential, new builds, short-term rentals, etc. And I also do private lending. And quite active in the marketplace. And I've just recently had a deal myself, which we finally exchanged on Friday. But when we approached the vendor, who was sort of known to me, one of his concerns was that he'd been messed around by two previous buyers who'd gone so far down the line and then pulled out. Now, this guy, the vendor, was a very experienced landlord, and he just wanted to know the deal was going to happen. So we approached it in a particular way, which was, to give you an idea, it's a 4-bedroom house. And I said, look, and he wanted a 10,000 non-refundable deposit, which I said no to for various reasons. But what we did agree to was that we would pay, now this house would rent for, I would think, about £1,200 a month. We agreed to pay £1,000 a week to him. And if we didn't complete on the deal, he got to keep the money. If we did complete on the deal, that money wasn't treated as rent, but actually came off the purchase price. And as I say, so that happened on the 1st of February. And we were trying to drag it on, if I'm honest with you. We didn't want to exchange or complete quickly for various reasons, one of which is we've been doing some works on the property since we signed the lease. And we got to the stage on Friday where as I say, we've exchanged and we'll now complete in probably about 6 weeks' time. So again, we're not in a rush to do it, but I'm just intrigued because it's okay saying you know all the data, and if you're known in the area or known by the individual, it's okay. But what differentiates you from somebody else that they know that you're going to be good to your word? I guess that's the question.
So I can talk about the bits around property filter, and then I'll let Emma talk about the more education part. But the way it works for us, and we've seen it work really well. So it's on the follow-up. So we find that you want to be the last man standing or the last person standing, and it's all about occupying some headspace, being really accurate about what you talk about. So when you go into the pipeline and you start to convert this good lead into a great deal, so your property will have popped up there because you would say, okay, the sale has fallen through a couple of times. This guy's been played about a few times, so this is probably one we want to go and see if we can help. And then so the initial stage would be to come around to the viewings, make the offer, etc. And this is where you've got one place of truth, in property filter, where you'll see the price, the price status, the price and the status, where the property is being available, so subject to contract for a period this time and things like that. And also where you've got a centralized place for all your notes. And this is where you can go as much or as little into the details. But what I would say is think about approaching this property like, what if it sells to someone else tomorrow? And then it comes back on the market in 3 months' time, in 6 months' time, what notes, is going to be valuable to you at that point. And you'll find that the high-level thing is people's names, who you spoke to and about what. And so that when you, people's name and then just relatable high-level, conversation topics or things you've talked about with them that would justify, that would be good to remind them, in 3 months' time when the deal's fallen through again for them, and then you take it up there. So that in 3 months' time, in 6 months' time, when these deals fall through, you pick up the phone, you call people by their names, you have relatable conversations, and if you've got a French accent, you can make yourself, or wearing a hat, if you're wearing a hat, you can make yourself, reminded. But basically, you call people by their names, you relate to very precise discussions you've had, and you can say, oh, this was sometimes in, beginning of May, first week of May, remember, we talked about this and that. I told you that I couldn't see a value the property for that much, and therefore it's unlikely your other buyer would get a mortgage. This is now back on the market. What do you want to do, Paul? And you'll find that because property is a people business, you call people by their names, you relate to conversations you've had with them in a very accurate way, and you can do this at scale. So you do this on 50 deals you are following through, and not the 3 to 5 you can reasonably remember yourself. So that's what we've seen work really well. And it's what Emma just described earlier. We say, oh, I can see you're really keen, on this deal because you're accurate, you call people by them. And then nobody does that, Nobody occupies this headspace with the vendors, the agents, so that when the deal for this property sale, fall through with someone else, all they can think about as a solution provider is you. Is that kind of helping?
Yeah, and I think also from me and what I've found as well, when you're talking to investors, this is another kind of additional sort of professionalism, the real kind of trust that you have there as well. And I've just found that they've been, well, one, they've been completely mind blown when you've shown them this, and seeing that you've got this incredible funnel coming through as well, seeing that you have, you know, so these were the deals that I've been talking to, this is where we're at in the deal flow, this is, you know, this is this property, blah 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 blah, and just the professionalism of it for me is an absolute game changer. So yeah, so I'm not sure if that really answers your question there, and we've got Paul coming up to ask a question as well. Anthony, was that kind of what you were thinking?
Well, sort of, yeah. I guess no. There's some good nuggets there and some good information, but I think it's still, for some vendors, there's still that worry that, are you going to complete on a deal, because you may know everything and they might like you as a person, but unless you've got a track record with them, it can be difficult. I'm not saying there's a golden answer to this, by the way, unless you put a non-refundable deposit down. But that's the angle on this particular vendor's issue, was that, how do we know? As it happened, he knew who I was as well in the area, so that helped greatly as well.
Fantastic, I like it.
But you've got a track record, so you could have like a little portfolio of slide, or say, look, this is the stuff we've done before. This is so it should be easier for you with a track record.
Yeah, sorry. I wasn't asking the question for myself, I guess. I know the answer. I think I was trying to help the conversation along as to what, you know, maybe those less experienced, what they could do. Absolutely, you know, I'm fortunate in my area, people who know who we are, we can show the portfolio, we can get solicitor accountants letters, etc. It's how those newbies might handle the situation. But no, and some good, and I think absolutely, as you say, building the rapport up with the estate agents, calling by the first names, remembering details so they can see your capabilities and, you know, your interest in the property is good advice.
Yeah, so maybe just on that for people starting out. So, you know, it's all about the positioning of the certainty. So you would say it's all about the way you position your offer. So it's a bit off topic with property filter, but the way we put our offers is always, we convey a lot of certainty with offers. So it's like, okay, because there's all the questions they are going to ask. You know, they are going to ask for proof of funds. They are going to ask for all these things. They need to fill their memorandum of sale. So we give them everything with the offer. So this is the offer. This is the sort of the reason why, and this is here's the proof of fund, and here is the detail of the solicitor. Call this number to get things moving. You know, and it's almost like a sales copy. So our offers are like a sales copy letter where their call to action is to call our solicitor, and we make it super easy for them. And if it's true for anything you do, like in any business, etc., when you make it as easy as possible for people to take the following steps, and you convey that you know what you're talking about, it just builds trust, and we find it work quite well. And then it's the communication throughout the conveyancing system, so understanding really well how the conveyancing system works, and be in touch, show that things are progressing, and even if they are not, just keep on talking to them. It's what we find, especially if you are starting out and it's really new, you don't have this track record. Just to show that you understand how things work and that things are progressing, and the trust is built and is maintained.
Amazing. Yeah, great feedback there. Paul, thanks so much for jumping up. Please introduce yourself and give your question or feedback.
I don't know how well you'll be able to hear me, guys, because I'm out on my daily walk. I've got to that age in life, I go for a daily walk. Am I coming across loud and clear because I've got my headphones in?
We can just about hear you, so we might have to keep it brief, although, yeah.
Just a couple of things, actually. One being, I think it's interesting that Anthony goes up and sees it from the point of view of a newbie as opposed to seeing it from the point of view of where he is, which is a professional that's been doing it a long time. Never really understood this desire to kind of teach newbies how to do their job. And secondly, it sounds like a tool that's very much about a numbers game. So it's not really if you're focused and you're looking for one or two properties. It's really just a numbers game by the sound of it. I'm going through lots and lots of competing sales agents are kind of picking lots of stocks and saying you must meet your prince as opposed to saying that's your prince, you want it and you're going to buy it. So I'm not sure that it's useful for everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. It was a bit challenging to hear you, but yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. What's your thoughts on that? Paul, can you mute yourself now? Thanks.
I'm trying very hard to my phone jumps in here.
Struggling with that multitasking.
It is a man. In fact, I was asked the other day about what was my dream car. I couldn't even remember what it was, and I was trying to describe the logo, and one of the people in the audience went, yeah, you ask a woman and it's the blue one, and it was like, yeah, that's what it is for me. That's like multitasking for a man, isn't it? Sorry, Guillaume, did you want to respond to that?
That's a good question from Paul. So indeed, so absolutely bang on. So the success in property, will be driven by two factors. So when we said we studied success, if I were to summarize everything that I've learned from these studies, that property is a people business and it's a numbers game, and it's absolutely is a numbers game. But it doesn't mean that you don't need to be efficient, even if you're looking for one or two deals. And the way I see deals and finding deals is like, I'm going to put my French hat again. It's like dating. It's when you don't need it that they come like buses. So it's the same with deals. So it's why having a healthy pipeline and not be attached emotionally to this one deal we really want to make work. Again, I'm going back to my first 18 months of achieving nothing. So I had my episodes of 3 months trying to make this one deal work and stacking it with I was getting quote from utilities, saving £5 on something, like just to make it work, so it's ridiculous. So you want to have this abundant mindset so that there are deals everywhere. And the way you've got this is by having a healthy pipeline of hot, motivated leads, and then the deals will be in the follow-up. So again, whilst your competition is scrolling through the portals, randomly booking viewings, therefore not making offers because they're wasting their time, and then nobody follows up. The way you join, like the top percentile club is really by focusing on the motivated sellers, offering on everything that's going to be a deal, and don't expect the deals to come through. Like just at the first offer, the deals will be in the follow-up, follow up on these deals. And then all of a sudden you have this great ROI, great all money out kind of deals. And then because it's a numbers game, you have another one, maybe 3 months later. But these don't all come about when, okay, I hooked on, I plugged on Property Filter, look for a few deals, put on offers in, I'm out. These are built, with the follow-up, because it's a people business. It's by this relationship you build, exactly as Anthony was saying, is like positioning yourself and again, and occupy some headspace, by following up with the vendors, the agents, the people, all those people with the properties. And even if you're looking for one deal, could you save £20,000? Could you save £30,000 on one deal? If you follow up for 6 months, absolutely you can. Is it worth it? Absolutely it is. So. For me, even if we think right now that we only want one deal or two deals, we want to put ourselves in the shoes where we want to have the best of the one or two deals we can, and have a healthy pipeline of deals. That's really what we've seen work, and what I would encourage you to look at the way to look at things.
Amazing. Thank you.
Can I just come back in there because I'm slightly confused? So is it a people business or is it a deal numbers business?
Property is a people business, and there's a triple entendre, if you like. It's a people business because you want to buy from motivated sellers. It's a people business because the rapport you build and the relationship you build with agents will go a long way. Ultimately, you'll build a relationship of being a property problem solvers, and they'll give you deals without listing them. That's what we see with our Property Filter members. So it's why the two aspects of Property Filter is this lead generation part and the pipeline to convert these leads into good deals. These are the two main aspects. And when people start out, they use Property Filter mainly to generate motivated seller leads. And then as they convert these leads into good deals, they demonstrate their professionalism with agents and vendors. They build relationships to a point where the agents and portfolio landlords give them deals directly, and they still use the pipeline, to convert these leads. They use more of the property filter for the follow-up system. So it's like more of there's two main features, and then people sort of move up between the features there. And then it's a numbers game for so many reasons, because on the thousands of properties out there that are available on the market, 90% of it is a waste of time. So it's a numbers game, because you want to filter out the noise. You want to go straight to these ones that are interesting. And then amongst these, the best deals will always be in the follow-up. So it's a numbers game. If you only want one deal this year, you probably want to look after, 10, 20 good motivated seller leads, and then work and follow up on all of these,
Fantastic guys. It's gone over 1 o'clock. I really appreciate this. I've got to take my son out for a cup of tea. It is Bank Holiday Monday. Tab, I will just answer. It says, she said, I'm just starting using Property Filter, loving it so far. Can I ask, would you still keep track of call about and follow up on sold subject to contract properties in your pipeline? Yeah, I mean, absolutely, I can answer that. What I really like about the subject to contract, it has a part where it is, you have even motivated ones that are just about to potentially fall out of bed. So is it greater than 90 days? You have a sold that has been in the sold subject to contract, so you could send them letters. Yeah, there's lots of things. Absolutely, Tab. I think that is a really key one. So guys, please, I think I've got my head around the new changes to Clubhouse. So you now have to come and subscribe on the houses. I think I've got that right. So this is the SA&Q&A. So please do, if you're not already a member, please do come and join that. And then we also run property networking. So do come and find that, and we alternate each week. So that's, really useful. And then this will go onto YouTube. So if you want to come and see Guillaume and myself, see what hat I'm wearing today, do feel free. It is a summary one. Then, that is really worth going and subscribing as well. And this quarter, guys, I am really pushing on my YouTube to try and grow the subscriptions on that page, because I have already, I now have some content there, which is great. So next week we will be back with the lovely Paul, and we are going to be doing talking about communication skills in property. And as we've talked about, it really is a people's business. So that's going to be a really interesting one next week, same time at noon, but it's going to be under the Property Networking House. And then now, as I'm looking at absolutely everything on my computer, I've lost Guillaume. Now I've got him back. Oh my gosh, there's just too much going on. So Guillaume, thank you so much for coming here today. We really appreciate that. So guys, do give us some love in the chat box if you can. I know Guillaume has taken time out from his brand new gorgeous little baby, and he has also come here on Bank Holiday Monday. So thank you, really appreciate it. And also I put a link. Any other closing comments that I may have missed? Guillaume, please do let me know.
Yeah, no, awesome. Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, jump on the trial, on the Emma's link, and there's no money taken or anything. Just come and have a go on the trial, and then the team will help you set things up. You can talk to humans, and we'll help you with your success in property. It'd be quite cool to start working with you guys.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you so much, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.